presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are St. Louis.
The final week of spring training begins today. Spring training 2016 rolls on from Roger Dean Stadium in Jupiter, Florida. Mike Matheny getting set to finish off the final week here in Jupiter. It's a part of our Toyota Keys to the Game. Finalize the roster for Matheny and his club and gear up for Sunday. That's the season opener against Pittsburgh. The Mets are today. Baseball is next. This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball, and this afternoon from Roger Dean Stadium in Jupiter, Florida, spring training home to the St. Louis Cardinals. It's the New York Mets, the defending champions of the National League, as they take on the St. Louis Cardinals. And welcome to Cardinals baseball. That's the Matt Hungary and Al Roboski. I'm Dan McLaughlin. It's the final tune-up of spring training for Carlos Martinez. Last time out, he was sensational.
It really was. It's kind of a question mark coming into spring training. Would his shoulder be healthy? It is definitely healthy. Throwing back 98 miles an hour once again. He really has looked sharp.
It's a fun matchup here today. You've got the defending National League champions with Bartolo Colon getting his final tune-up of spring training against the young fireballer Carlos Martinez. Mets, Cardinals comes your way next. Baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser, by the Missouri Lottery. Every ticket you play gives back to schools across Missouri, so play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. Well, today it is Carlos Martinez. Yesterday it was Jaime Garcia. And what a start for him. He was fantastic in the ball game yesterday. with 11 ground ball outs, and he went 5 innings, took a no-hitter out into that 5th inning.
Exactly right. They pitched around Stanton a couple times, but he would look very, very sharp. He had a good cutter working. At times he would elevate to get a strikeout, and I just thought it was very, very good performance for Jaime, and I'm sure he's saying he's ready for this season.
So 5 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs. They both were earned, 2 walks. And he struck out 4, and he came away healthy. And that's always a key when you talk about Jaime Garcia.
Yeah, he's been dealing with a little blister on a finger on his pitching hand, but if he has the results that he had yesterday, I think we'll all be very happy.
Terry Collins on the other side, the manager of the New York Mets, made it to his first postseason a year ago, and his team went to the World Series, lost in 5 games to Kansas City. Think about this. He is one of 3 Mets managers that have kept that post more than 5 years. It's Collins, Davey Johnson, and Bobby Valentine. So they've had kind of a revolving door at times with the New York Mets in that position. But Terry Collins fighting through, reduced numbers in payroll, and maybe not going out and spending money that the fans want, but yet they built up a winner, and they've got pitching. It is beautiful here at Roger Dean Stadium. It's warm, it's muggy, 85 degrees, and the wind is blowing out towards right field at 8 miles an hour. The Mets a year ago, 90-72, first winning season since 2008, and won their first National League pennant since 2000 when they were part of the Subway Series with the Yankees.
And the Nationals were penciled in to win the World Series, but the Mets kind of hung in there. Then they've got Cespedes at the trade deadline, and boy, did he pay off for their offense.
And he's in the lineup today. Granderson, Cabrera, Cespedes, Duda, Walker, Deaza, d'Arnaud, Flores, and Bartolo Colon. Carlos Martinez, his final start of spring training, and as you mentioned in the open, he also has come away so far, knock on wood, healthy, and that shoulder is strong.
Yeah, I think we're erased all those doubts about that shoulder. Remember, he's finished the season a little bit earlier. As the last start he made, he threw about 7 pitches, then the shoulder started barking. But I think it was just a little bit the innings caught up with him, and I don't think it'll be an issue this year.
His last start was on March 23rd against Miami. 5 scoreless innings, 2 hit baseball, and so far this spring, 9 2/3 and 12 strikeouts. Let's go around the horn, presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Holiday in left, Randall Grichuk in center, Stephen Piscotty is in right. Carpenter, Tejada, Wong, and Adams on the infield. Eric Fryer is behind the plate. Around 10:30 this morning, we got late word that Yadier Molina was scratched from the lineup and still waiting the official word from the Cardinals as to why. But around the horn is presented by Dobbs. So here's Curtis Granderson, who is 7 for his last 14, and takes a pitch low. In many ways, he was their MVP a season ago, playing in year 2 of a 4-year contract that he signed with the Metropolitans.
And it just sort of seemed like last year he kind of settled in after the first year. And remember, they wanted him to hit a lot of home runs and maybe try to change his approach a bit. He did hit 26 home runs and drove in 70.
2 balls, 1 strike on Granderson. No home runs this spring, hitting .316. Two balls, 2 strikes to the leadoff man, Curtis Granderson. Hit .259 a year ago. Takes a pitch in the dirt. Martinez not throwing with that flair that we normally see. Kind of standing tall on the mound, and I'm sure the Cardinals keep a close eye on their young fireballer. 3-2 pitch. And a ground ball hit towards the middle. Backhanded by Wong. Nice play. Colton Wong takes a hit away from Granderson.
We saw Colton come out of the ball game the other day as he banged his knee up a little bit. He felt he'd be back in the lineup today, and here he is, and making a nice play on the first ball tested. He's made a lot of errors this year in the springtime, and most of them have been the easiest of plays. But you give him a little challenge like that, and he'll come up with the play very well.
Asdrubal Cabrera has been dealing with a strained patella tendon in his left knee and had been sidelined since March 10th. And today is his first action in the field of a live grapefruit game since the 10th. But he was on the backfields and playing with the minor leaguers. Played 4 innings in a minor league game yesterday. And so far, they say he's come away with strength in the knee and should be set to go for their opening night. Ground ball that's hit to first. Adams takes it himself. 2 down.
You may be talking about Martinez not pitching with the same player, but maybe we're seeing a more mature Martinez and going out there and getting quick outs. That's what's more important. You know, when you're young, you fall in love with the strikeouts. As you get a little bit of age, a little experience, you find out if you can retire hitters in the first couple pitches, it's a lot easier to stay in there and go deep into a game.
Yoenis Cespedes, 57 games with the Mets last year. And boy, did he make an impact. He had a total of 35 home runs combined with Detroit. Had 17 in under 60 games with the Mets. And in his first 41 games with New York, he had 42 RBIs. They were looking for offense, and man, did he supply it.
And then it took him a long time to sign him. He was a free agent this offseason, and now he returns to the Mets.
3 years, $75 million. With an opt-out after year number 1 of that deal. Outfield is deep straight away. 1-1 pitch. Pulled foul. We know he's got power. He's won a couple of home run derbies during the break. 30 years of age, a Cuban defector. And can play all 3 outfield spots.
Guys are really powerfully built, aren't they?
Yes, they are. And he takes a hack.
They don't get cheated in that batter's box.
Now, we've seen him with the Cardinals. We've seen him with Oakland, with Boston, and Detroit. And it seemed like in the brief time that we've seen him in 3-game series, he's the best player on the field. I mean, he's always had good games against St. Louis for whatever reason. There's a base hit out to left. And it's not just with the bat, but also his hustle, his speed in that body, and a very good arm. One of the best arms in the game. Went down to get this one for a 2-out base hit.
Well, now the breaking ball, and goes out there. He's a little off balance. He's fooled by the pitch, but good results as he pulls it through the left side.
Here's a Lucas Duda. Knocked out 27 home runs a year ago. The everyday first baseman for the Mets. And the shift is on. Carpenter near the bag at second base, the third baseman. That's hit out of play. The big question with Duda was, number 1, can he stay healthy? Number 2, could he hit lefties? And they found out last year that he could do that against lefties, and then because of that, played every day.
That's it. Yeah, he really had that question mark. In the past, he had not been able to stay in the lineup against a left-handed pitcher.
Here's the 0-1. Off the glove of Martinez, and a flip to second for a forced play. The Mets strand a runner in the top of the first. Cardinals coming up in the home half. There's no score. And the Cardinals face Bartolo Colon. No score. A look at the Cardinals lineup with Carpenter, Piscotty, Holiday in the first. Then we'll see Adams, Grichuk, Fryer, Wong, Tejada, and Martinez. The oldest active player currently in the major leagues is on the mound. Bartolo Colon. He's 42 years old. He'll be 43 in May. Nothing fancy with Bartolo. It's fastball after fastball.
Well, it's a number one. Put down one for a fastball, but it doesn't come out as velocity-wise like it used to.
And they say he can do that because he cuts it, finger pressure, moves it, and can hit spots. He's very good at just locating that fastball.
Yeah, 218 wins. That's the third most by a Dominican pitcher, one away from Pedro, and then chasing Marichal.
There's a high fly ball. Right field, going back, Curtis Granderson under it and puts it away. Juan Marichal with 243 wins, most ever by a Dominican-born player. Colon, one away from Pedro Martinez, who has 219. Around the horn with Diaza in left, Cespedes in center, Granderson in right. Flores, Cabrera, Walker, and Duda along the infield. Darno is behind the plate. Around the horn presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Here's Stephen Piscotty. Colon made his debut pitching for Cleveland back in 1997. And at that time it was with the Cleveland Indians. He's been with the Expos, the White Sox, twice, Angels, Red Sox, Yankees, A's, and now the Mets. As a matter of fact, he is the last remaining member, active player that wore that Expos uniform in the major leagues.
Three-time All-Star. He's also won a Cy Young.
Did that back in 2005. And last year, he was 14-13. And Al, at the age of 42, he was 6 innings shy of 200 and was tied with Jacob deGrom for the most wins on the staff.
So he just missed his 9th year of having 200 or more innings pitched.
Here's a ground ball that's hit to second, backhanded by the former Pirate Neil Walker for out number 2. This rotation can be really good and special this season again for the Mets. Colon, Jacob deGrom, Matt Harvey, Steven Matz, who we saw earlier in spring. Noah Syndergaard pitched against the Cardinals, was hitting triple digits.
And they got Zach Wheeler,
he's coming
back from Tommy John surgery, so could even be better.
Out to deep left field, and it's 1-0 Cardinals. Matt Holliday off the building in left field. His first spring training home run, and a no-doubter. My goodness.
Well, we talk about Matt. He's a ground ball. He's a low ball hitter, so you're getting to hit a lot of ground balls. But when you get a hanger, you get the ball up. It shows how strong he really is. In great shape, lost some weight. And when the big guys hit it, it sounds a little different.
Matt Adams trying to bunt against the shift. Matt has had back-to-back games with multi-hit games as Holliday picks up his first home run, second RBI. And I talked to Matt Adams after the game yesterday, and he said, I'm starting to really get in a good groove with my swing. The second hit that he had yesterday was against a changeup. He's been really conscious of trying to keep his weight back and hands back and not be fooled by those pitches. Showing bunt again, and bunts it right to Chris Maloney, who is going to be the everyday third base coach of the Cardinals with Jose Oquendo out for a significant period of time and maybe the entire year.
Billy Miller, he's moved to first base where Maloney normally is, so they got a new assistant hitting coach, Derek May.
Here's an 0-2 pitch to Adams. And a high fly ball lifted out to deep left center field. Cespedes is there and makes the catch. Matt Holliday with one swing gives the Cardinals an early lead against Bartolo Colon. Off the building, the Marlins side of things here in Jupiter with a rocket to left. Matt Holliday on the left and Tommy Pham on the right. Back-to-back days with home runs. Yesterday it was Tommy Pham against Jose Fernandez, one of the best in baseball, with a 2-run shot. And Fernandez lasted 3 2/3, and Holliday, no doubt about this one. So that's good to see. The Cardinals showing a little power here at the end of spring. Here's Neil Walker. And a ground ball that's fair inside the first base line. Down into the Cardinals bullpen. Dug out by Stephen Piscotty, and Neil Walker has a leadoff double.
Well, both these teams are looking for wins. The Mets haven't won in 10 days, and the Cardinals have only won once in the last 2 weeks. Just down and in, drops that bat head. Adams was off the line at first base, goes right over the bag down in the corner, and Piscotty got over there and got it back in quickly.
We get official word on Yadier Molina's scratch today due to a right foot contusion and listed as day-to-day. Alejandro De Aza. That gets past Eric Fryer, who's filling in for Molina. And the pitch that was up. Let's see if the Cardinals bring the infield in here with nobody out. And a runner at third.
It looks like Fryer looks with his peripheral vision. He sees the runner going, and he pulls the bat is pulled back by De Aza. You throw that bat head right back into the eyes of a catcher, and a lot of times they'll flinch, and you'll get what you just saw, the ball go off his glove.
Only infielder that's playing in is Matt Carpenter at third. De Aza was with Baltimore and Boston last year and signed a 1-year, $5 million deal with the Mets to be their 4th outfielder.
How much stock is Lagares lost?
It's gone down, the former Gold Glover, and there's a look at the ERA leaders last season. The Cardinals, historic year, best since 1969 with a 2.94 ERA. The 2-1. Just out of the reach of Martinez. Only play is for Wong to go to first, and this game is tied. Neil Walker scoring the first run for the Mets today.
Put the ball in play. Good things can happen. Martinez is very athletic and a good fielding pitcher, but that took a bounce over his glove, and Wong had to come in. Did a nice play to just get the out at first.
There's Travis d'Arnaud. Very good all-around catcher when healthy. He's played in just 175 games the last 2 years, only 67 last year, as he was on the DL 3 different times. Kevin Plawecki is the backup catcher. Here's a 1-0. It wasn't just the Cardinals who dealt with injuries. It was the Mets as well. They had a lot of injuries, lost over 1,300 games combined, with big names not in their lineup. One of those was d'Arnaud. Popped into shallow left. Coming on, it's Holliday to make the catch. d'Arnaud missed time. David Wright with his back issues. Lucas Duda, Daniel Murphy, Michael Kadire, who recently retired. So it wasn't just the Cardinals, it was also the Mets.
This is the last road game for the Mets. Port St. Lucie, their home, is about 45 minutes up north of 95, and so they have their entire squad on this trip.
Up and in to Wilmer Flores. Terry Collins saw 10 players make their major league debut last year. And they won with a lot of homegrown talent. Of the Mets' 25-man roster, 14 were drafted or signed as international free agents last year when you looked at the 25-man roster for the World Series.
I think most ball clubs realize now that you have to grow your own. You have to draft well, you have to develop them, and then you can fill in with a trade or a free agency here and there. But you better do it with homegrown.
One ball, two strikes coming up for the Cardinals in the home half of the second. Be Randal Grichuk to lead it off. The Cardinals' everyday center fielder who's had a very good spring.
He's played very well defensively on top of it.
And a ground ball to Colton Wong. Couple of hops, makes the play. Mets get on the board. They tie it up. It is 1-1 midway through 2. You're watching Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. Syndergaard. He'll be in the rotation this year for the Mets. A reminder that tomorrow afternoon the Cardinals face another National League East team. That's the Nationals at noon. Catch it on Fox Sports Midwest. Head to Ballpark Village for game day specials. Watch it on the big screen. Cardinals spring training on Fox Sports Midwest. Randal Grichuk with a couple of home runs this spring, 5 RBIs. And batting .325 at the start of play today. Noah Syndergaard, what's interesting about the rotation of the Mets, he is the only one that has not had Tommy John surgery of this great collection of pitchers that they have assembled in New York. Whether it's Cologne, DeGrom has had it, Harvey's had it, well documented. Steven Matz, who's coming back from his. It's incredible.
Remember, they drafted Matz and didn't see him pitch for 2 years because he had Tommy John surgery. And I think they like what they see now that he's healthy.
Only Matt Harvey is eligible for free agency, and that's not until after the 2018 season. So this collection could be together for a long time to make a nice run.
That's why I think the odds makers in Las Vegas have picked them a 10-1 to win the World Series.
The 2-2 pitch. Back to Cologne. And a strike to first, over to Lucas Duda for the out. It has not been a great spring for Cologne. But as he said, who cares? Last year, 0-3 with an ERA over 7. And then started the year 4-0. In his first 4 starts with an ERA just over 2. Just trying to get ready for that grind of the regular season as Eric Fryer looks at a strike. And again, got word about 10:30 this morning that Molina was a late scratch, and the reason why is a contusion on his foot, listed as day-to-day. Fryer lifts a fly ball into right to Curtis Granderson. There's out number 2.
Cologne just keeps on rolling. As you said, you know, it just really doesn't matter what these numbers are here. He'll kind of flip the switch when you get to opening day.
That brings in second baseman Colton Wong, hitting an even .300 this spring.
Been hot of late.
So getting hot at the right time. And people were wondering a little bit about early in spring, what's going on with Colton Wong? He's not swinging the bat all that well. And later told folks that he was taking, for the better part of his at-bats in the first half of spring, at least 2 pitches, even if they were strikes. Just wants to get his timing, which a lot of veterans will do.
You know, pitching or pitch recognition. Don't be out in front, so kind of wait back.
The 1-1. Wong with a base hit into center field.
One of the things when he jammed his kneecap the other day, you know, diving for a ball and hit right on the kneecap. Kind of had a little bruise there. He sat out yesterday's ball game, but they wanted to get him back in there because he's so hot at the plate right now. Hopefully you start peaking at this time and you carry it right on through the regular season.
See if the Cardinals want to be aggressive with Bartolo Colon. You take a look at times towards the plate, and he is one of the slowest in Major League Baseball. Wong had 15 stolen bases a year ago. Ruben Tejada, the former Met. Cards had to wait for him to clear waivers, and they would not be on the hook then for $3 million, which he is owed by the Mets. They got him for $1.5 million.
Maybe even more important is he's going to fill in until Peralta can rejoin the ball club, which is going to be a while, maybe even second half before he's fully ready.
And Tejada pops it up to the right side. Duda over and out of room.
But you didn't have to give up any players as if it were made a trade for him. So they gambled a little bit and it paid off.
Oh my goodness, it almost landed in my lap.
Ladies, you are at a ball game.
Be ready, right?
It's not the Kentucky Derby.
Here's the 0-2 pitch to Tejada. Hit out of play. Ruben is only 26, and the Mets had made a couple of moves in the offseason that made him expendable. They added Neil Walker, Asdrubal Cabrera during the offseason. And so Tejada, even when Peralta comes back, he gives the Cardinals some flexibility. Can play shortstop, second, or third. Lines to Walker. And the inning is through. The Cardinals strand a runner. That's Colton Wong after his 2-out single to center. We have played 2 from Jupiter, Florida, and Roger Dean Stadium. We're tied up. It's 1-1.
Big
to do to pick it up. To see all the baseball you want, visit MLB.tv for details. And the Mets fans have come to love this, watching Bartolo Colon swing the bat. And if he puts it in play, watch him run. Helmet goes flying off as he takes a healthy cut. And it's quickly, no balls and 2 strikes.
I did have a couple hits last year.
One of those came against the Cardinals.
Yeah, I think his first one of the year. 2 good swings. He's not known for his hitting at all, though.
And goodbye. There's the breaking ball by Martinez. Colon is down on strikes. First strikeout for Carlos. Just noticed today, I'm not saying it's good, bad, indifferent, but just how tall Martinez is standing on the mound and how he's delivering to the plate. It's almost as if it's kind of like going through the motions, just free and easy. But sometimes you'll see Carlos really fall off to the first base side. We haven't seen that so far today.
No, you're absolutely right, and it is different.
It's more of that direct line to the plate.
And it really doesn't look like he's trying to max out. You know, it's a little bit different on these, but when early in warming up, it just looked like he was flipping the ball up there.
The 2-0 pitch to Curtis Granderson is taken for a ball.
He used to fall all the way off the mound, the dirt surface, towards the first base, and you can see he's trying to keep himself on the mound in more of better fielding position. I'm more concerned about having maximum effort go to the home plate.
Granderson grounded out to second, first time up. 3-2 the count.
You know, last year you told us a good story about Granderson and what he did for Chicago area kids. Well, he's at it again, doing something very important.
Strikes out here, 2 in the inning.
Yeah, but he's announced to where he's trying to get every ball club to have at least 2 guys do what he's going to do. He's going to donate his meal money to charity. It'll be for the homeless and you know, feeding the less fortunate, and he's going to do that in New York and Detroit and Chicago, and trying to get other team players to join him. Not asking, you know, rookies or anything else, but high salaried guys, and of course that'd be about $10,000 donation.
One of the real good people in the game.
It's very easy to pull for him, isn't it?
It is. Donated last year $5 million to redo a part of a school in the inner city in Chicago. His parents are school teachers. Education very important to him. Always was emphasized, he told me, growing up, and it's carried over now to his major league career. Cabrera grounded out to Adams, first time up. And he hits it in the air out to center. That's where Randall Grichuk is at. Carlos Martinez, Matt Carpenter, Stephen Piscotty coming up for the St. Louis Cardinals. We're midway through 3, tied up 1-1. And a reminder, the Cardinals open the regular season on Sunday. Be on the road in Pittsburgh. Wainwright, Liriano, Cardinals and Pirates. 2-hour pregame show beginning at 10 a.m. St. Louis time. First pitch at noon. Just get the feeling the players are ready to get this thing going. As Martinez shows bunt and takes a strike. It's not only the players, it's the staff. Maybe some broadcasters are ready to head north and get ready for the regular season.
You're absolutely right. See 28 pitches thrown. You see he's got that impeccable control. Just 4 balls out of 28.
The strikeout of Carlos Martinez, first of the afternoon for Bartolo Colon.
You know, Dan, you go through this weekend, you know, kind of the attitude of the players is kind of it's gone from being frustrated and tired and just worn out of being in Florida to where now you can see the light at the tunnel. After Thursday's game, they'll fly to Pittsburgh, spend about a month there.
It's going to feel like a long first opening road trip because of a couple of off days. The Mets, by the way, have 2 back-to-back off days first week to start the regular season. Both teams will play on Sunday. The Mets will play in the Sunday night game against Kansas City, rematch of the World Series, and the Cardinals taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates with Adam Wainwright on the mound.
You know, it's one of those situations where Major League Baseball, you know, I'm sure the schedule is so complicated. And you always have an off day after your scheduled, you know, home opener or the opener in case you have bad weather. But why do you need another 1 or 2 days in the same week? You know, they should be spacing those out in the dog days of summer or end of the month, and most of the times where you'll play like 20 games straight.
There's an 0-2 pitch to Carpenter, who flied to right field. First time up. Saw the numbers there with Adam Wainwright as your opening day starter. Great to have him back after the Achilles injury cut short his season. Remarkable in the fact that he even came back. And you think about it, if he didn't pitch at the end of last year, that might be the top story in spring training. You know, what's Wainwright looking like? Is he feeling good? Is the arm there? Can he extend off the mound? And all those questions have been answered.
Yeah, and when he came out of relief there in September, you know, he satisfied all those answers and allowed him to have a normal offseason. And as you say, no questions, nobody's worried about the Achilles.
1-2. He took something off it, and Carpenter strikes out. 2 in the inning, 2 in the game for Colon.
Well, Colon's been around a long time. You say normally it's all fastballs, but you know, he's got the changeup right here, and look at that downward action and just keep on rolling away from Carpenter. Just a pitch that you can't hit.
Coming into camp, a lot of talk about the young players of the Cardinals, namely Grichuk and Piscotty. And not a lot of talk about them because they've been so good this spring.
Well, they're passing the spring test. Now the real test is, can they carry that into the season and all the way through? Because so much is going to depend on what Piscotty and Grichuk do.
1-0 is hit out of play. 1 ball in, 1 strike.
And we know in spring training there's been very few days that you've seen the Cardinal lineup that we would project, and it's getting late right now. But I think that one of the questions we had coming in is, would there be enough offense? And that's still a big question mark.
The 1-1 check swing, 2 balls, 1 strike.
Piscotty did there, and then saw the 7 home runs in the regular season, but 3 big postseason home runs too.
Hit sharply to third and handled by Wilmer Flores. He makes the play. 1-2-3 inning for Bartolo Colon. He's set down 4 straight. Carlos Martinez back to the mound when we come back to Jupiter. Won 100 games last year, despite the fact injuries were piling up. Adams, Holiday, Wainwright, Molina all missed considerable time. They had 772 games lost to injury a year ago to key players. But this franchise still saw their 5th consecutive appearance in the postseason and the 6th time in the last 7 years. Here's Cespedes, who singled to left his first time up. Seeing the second time through with Martinez. More of the Martinez falling towards the first base side. A little more on the fastball, it looks like. The 1-1.
Yeah, I think that's here we're seeing, okay, you got a base hit. Now I'm going to rear back a little bit more, where it looked like in the first 3 innings, pretty much just trying to get the ball over, locate the strike zone. Now it's more of a personal challenge against Cespedes.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Breaking ball is chopped to short. Tejada, the former Met, puts it away. What we've seen from Ruben Tejada, maybe you're just joining us for the first time this spring, is that he is just a steady major league shortstop. Nothing flashy, but steady.
Yeah, he kind of got in the doghouse with the Mets a little bit. A couple years ago, they felt like he came in out of shape. They had 1 year he was supposed to stay in New York. They had it was when Hurricane Sandy came through, and then they needed his apartment for a displaced family. And instead of staying and finding a different housing for him, he went back to Panama, and then he came into camp and he wasn't in shape. So it looks like he's in shape this year and he got released, but it might end up being a blessing in disguise. Come play in St. Louis and at least be able to play every day for half the season.
1 ball, 1 strike on Lucas Duda. Ground ball. There's Tejada with the shift. 2 outs. Let's go pitch by pitch. Martinez against Cespedes.
Well, we talked about that. Cespedes got the base hit, double the first time up, so it looks like he's going to go after him hard. More direct, a little hard fastball. And the other one, he fouls this one off, and then get a little breaking ball, off-speed pitch, and it's out in front, and he gets the easy out and wins that battle.
It's 8 in a row set down by Martinez. Here's Neil Walker, who comes from Pittsburgh to New York in a trade with the Pirates for Jonathan Neese. It's a good changeup there.
Yeah, I think the Mets look at it, even last spring they had no intention of re-signing Daniel Murphy, even though he went home run Baker on us in the postseason. But they feel like they got a better hitter and a much better fielder.
3rd strikeout for Martinez. Midway through 4, we're tied up. It's 1-1. Next time you want to grab Cardinals seats, get the StubHub app. Not only will you find seats you'll love, wherever you want in the ballpark, you can find the best seat for your buck when you sort by the best value. Get the StubHub app today. By the way, we should tell you there are still very good seats remaining for the Cubs series coming up. The home opener as well. And the first weekend against the Cincinnati Reds, which includes the stadium giveaway, Wainwright bobblehead, and Molina jersey giveaway all 3 days. Good seats remaining at Cardinals.com. The check swing by Holiday, who homered his first time up. No balls, 2 strikes.
Already got a pitch on the inner half. Cologne, I'm sure, wanted it further in, and he gave it a ride.
Here's the 0-2. We had a matchup of Max Scherzer and Adam Wainwright for tomorrow, but we're told that in Vieira, where the Nationals train, they were rained out today, so Steven Strasburg will get that start tomorrow, not Scherzer. The 1-2. Strasburg is a free agent to be. Holiday in his 13th season. Tremendous career, 25 home runs away from 300. Off-speed pitch taken low. Full count delivery. The next 2, Holiday. Ripped into left for a base hit. He's 2 for 2.
Good to see Matt swing the bat. He's in good shape. Lost a little weight. I don't think any of us felt like he had to or needed to, but get up in age a little bit. I think his legs took a little weight off of there, and I think he's in great shape, which he's a workaholic anyway. But he looks like he's in that much better baseball shape.
Here's Adams, who tried to bunt twice against the shift and then eventually flied out to center his first time up. Off-speed pitch and strike 1. Big City, the nickname for Matt Adams, which was started by David Freese. It went viral, and we're going to see David Freese Sunday afternoon in Pittsburgh.
Opening day.
Here's the 0-1. Adams also in much better shape. Worked with a new trainer. At one point did a 21-day zero tolerance stretch. No carbs, meat and veggies only. Weighs the same, but body fat has been reduced considerably coming into spring training. Here's the 0-2. Adams with a high fly ball. Waited on that pitch out to deep left center field. Cespedes is back. Won't get it. Pops over the wall, and a ground rule double for Matt Adams. Unfortunately for Mets fans, that's eerily similar to the play that Cespedes had to begin the World Series, you may remember, against Kansas City. Wound up being an inside the park home run for the Royals.
But it's good to see Matt Adams take that outside pitch and drive it to the opposite field. Well, there you see the near catch, hit the warning track and bounced over. But when you can see him get those base hits to the left side of the field, you know he's staying on the ball. You know he's seeing the ball much better, and his mechanics are helping.
Here's Randall Grichuk. Takes a pitch inside. Grounded back to Cologne, his first time up. Speaking of David Freese, Grichuk, of course, came over from the Angels for David Freese and Peter Borges. Borges is now with the Phillies. 1 ball, 1 strike. Think about what the Cardinals have gotten from the Angels. They get their everyday center fielder, and you can look at it this way. They got their everyday right fielder in Piscotty as the compensatory pick for losing Albert Pujols to the Angels.
I bet you're going to go back to Edmonds.
And they got Walker
yeah,
as well in that situation. The 1-1. That Edmonds deal worked out pretty well too.
Yes, it did.
Adam Kennedy and Kent Bottenfield back in 2000.
And then we got Kennedy back, and Jimmy, a Hall of Famer, Cardinal Hall of Fame.
1 ball and 2 strikes. And the next to Randall Grichuk. Tied him up, struck him out.
All through that at bat, Cologne was trying to go in, and never left something in the middle of the plate. That's one of the things that Grichuk's going to have many opportunities like this to drive in some runs.
So 1 out, and here is Eric Fryer. Fryer lined to right his first time up. Now the Cardinals have committed more than their fair share of errors down here in spring training. It's been a little sloppy, but the other thing that's happened too is that they've had situations like this. For instance, 2 days ago they stranded 8 in the first 2 innings and didn't score. Need to score in these kind of spots. Ground ball that's hit too short. They'll go and get Adams with the tag at third. Run does score. That's Holiday. And it's a 2-1 St. Louis lead.
Well, a lot of times, Dan, all you need to do is make contact, and you're going to get that run. It doesn't always have to be a base hit. But Meyer gets the RBI. He's on at first base, but we lose a man in scoring position.
Remember the other day with Matt Adams when he was at second base and then passed by Jed Jerko on a double into right center field with a base running snafu. And here is Colton Wong.
What you think about that play right there? You know, Matt, and I know Mike Matheny's been wanting people to be aggressive, but once he had to hurdle over the baseball, he had no chance of getting to third base. And he could have gotten back to second or just stay right there, and that would have been the only play.
Fryer diving back in safely at first. Colton Wong, the 25-year-old from Hawaii. Last year at 262. 11 home runs, drove in 61. We have the adult Colton Wong Hawaiian print jersey against Texas coming up on June 17th, and Colton was all about that jersey. One ball, 1 strike.
Well, one of the things that happened to Colton, last year, he just had a poor second half, and just trying to learn how to play that 162 games, that extra month, that you have in the big leagues versus minor leagues. Plus, Cardinals always go into the postseason. Takes a while to get your body accustomed to that, and I remember also with the Cardinals winning 100 games last year and not scoring as many runs as you would like. Every game seemed like the pitching staff and the defense was, under the gun, because it was only a 1-run, 2-run lead every single day. No margin for error.
1-2 the count on Colton Wong. Another check on Fryer. And to flip that, Al, I wonder if the Mets are a little concerned about their young starters that piled up the innings a year ago because of postseason play.
And see, I think that's what happened to Martinez and Walker. Is the increase of innings. Remember, Walker was injured 2014, and Martinez was in the bullpen.
2 strikeouts in the inning, but the Cardinals regained the lead against Bartolo Colon. It's spring training 2016, 2-1 as we enter the 5th. through 2 for 2 with a emphatic home run in the first inning. Al, what did you see in those at-bats?
Well, I think the one thing is a lot of times home runs, it's an errant location. They want this ball away. Look at the glove of the catcher going back up and over the middle of the plate. And, of course, that was inside. Here, he gets a sinker, and it's up a little bit. And he just pulled that one through the left side for his second hit. He is out of the game now. Look like Hazelbaker is playing left field.
The Cardinals right now with 34 players still in camp at the major league level. As you get a look at Alejandro De Aza, the left fielder, grounded out to second base. And there's a look at Hazelbaker, who's played all 3 outfield positions.
He's opened up some eyes, hasn't he?
Sure has. Ground ball that's hit to Matt Adams. He'll take it himself for the out. Steps on the bag, 1 away. Yesterday, Tim Cooney, Dean Kekeffer, Miguel Sokolovic, Sam Tuivalala, and Michael Ullman, the catcher, all sent to AAA. David Washington was reassigned to minor league camp. So 34 players remain for the Cardinals before they break on Thursday.
And there's 3 or 4 of those guys will probably be on the disabled list. So whittling it down.
Travis d'Arnaud looks at a strike. There's a look at Mike Matheny with Chris Maloney behind him. Breaking ball, it's hit to third. Carpenter, 2 down. Friday, April 15th, 30,000 fans ages 16 and older take home their very own replica Busch Stadium 3 with working lights. One-of-a-kind stadium replica is presented by Ameren, Missouri. Just visit Cardinals.com/promotions and purchase the April 15th giveaway. And it's the Cards and Reds. Weekend is full of giveaways. There's a strike to Wilmer Flores. 11 in a row for Carlos Martinez. He struck out 3 this afternoon, and there's a high fly ball lifted out to left. Hazelbaker is back, and he makes the catch in front of the track. Another 1-2-3 inning. We're midway through 5. St. Louis on top. It's 2-1. Bottom of 5, and it's 2-1 St. Louis. Colon last time out 6 innings. We'll see how far he goes in this game along with Martinez. It's not so much, I guess, Al, the innings. It's more about the pitch count.
Yes.
Just watching and getting a feel for your starter too.
I was a little surprised in yesterday's ball game. You know what? They took out Hernandez in, what was it? 70-some pitches or something, but it was less than 5 innings.
3 2/3.
See, here he's got 58. It's about the same Martinez is under 60.
Ruben Tejada lined out to second base. First time up. What is a muggy afternoon here at Roger Dean Stadium in Jupiter, Florida. Glad you're with us wherever you may be and enjoying spring training baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. Lined into right center field for a base hit. So Tejada, 2 hard hit balls and 1 base hit to show for it. 1 for 2.
Last week, first time he was reunited with his former team. Got a couple hits in that game, so trying to make a statement.
It's about a week and a half ago the National League teams stopped using the designated hitter, and it's because of situations like this. Need to start getting their pitchers in the batter's box, sacrifice situations.
Can do it during the regular season. You know, that's next week. So do it now.
There's a bunt, and it's a beauty. Duda will tag out Martinez for the out.
That execution right there might win him a ball game.
Adam Wainwright won the bunting contest among the pitchers, and that gave him Easter Sunday off. He was not at the ballpark yesterday. That was his reward for winning that contest. So here is Matt Carpenter. Carpenter is 0 for 2. He's flied to right, also struck out. This is where he has been so good from the leadoff spot with runners in scoring position. Last 3 years, a .331 average with runners in scoring position. 1 out, man at second. Carpenter, first pitch swinging, and a fly ball lifted out to left field. De Aza with the catch. Tejada back to the bag at second base. 2 down, and it brings in Stephen Piscotty. Watch Colon throw. There's not many breaking balls. You just wonder how much wear and tear is really happening during these starts. It's just free and easy and playing catch.
He is 42.
Let's remember that.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing, though, isn't it?
He does look like he's, you know, I mean, he's a big man. He looks like he's in better shape than I remember seeing him last year. But he definitely paces himself.
Two outs, runner at second. That's Tejada. And strike one. Piscotty today is grounded out to second, then grounded out sharply to third. Steven arrived in the major leagues on July 21st, and from that time forward led the Cardinals in average, RBIs, and hit .393 with runners in scoring position. Colon, a long look, and here's an 0-1 pitch. Now 0-2. Mike Matheny and John Mabry talk about his ability to make adjustments, not only from at-bat to at-bat, but during, let's say, even inside this at-bat, pitch to pitch. Very cerebral.
Doesn't always translate into high baseball IQ, but I think it does with Piscotty. He understands his mechanics. He understands what pitchers are trying to do to him, and can make those adjustments you talk about.
The 0-2. He was telling me the other day that when he changed his swing to get more of an upright plane and drive the ball in the air, he watched video of Albert Pujols and Barry Bonds. said I just kept watching those guys, looking at their hands, looking at the plane of the bat going through the zone. Here's a 1-2.
Remember, he kind of was last couple springs. They all looked at Piscotty and said he has a high ceiling. But it was one of the few times you ever hear about a line drive hitter and somebody saying we want to change that swing. But it has paid off for him. And power is usually the last ingredient to fall into place for a young hitter.
2 balls, 2 strikes, and the next 2, Piscotty. Pulled foul into the netting above the dugout, which is something that you'll see across Major League Baseball in all Major League parks. That new netting to protect the fans. 2-2 the count with 2 outs and a runner at second. And the Cardinals leading 2-1. They've out hit the Mets 5-2. It's another 2-2 pitch to Stephen Piscotty. Hit out of play. The other thing I've noticed with Piscotty, he just does not give away at bats. Many young hitters, you'll see that happen. He does not.
Hey, ice cold beer.
Has that ability to foul off a pitch.
Exactly.
Understands the strike zone pretty well. And I think the one thing that you really make it tough on a guy like, or hitters with a guy like Colon there, is because of his ability to pitch inside. No, he doesn't throw hard. He can still get it in there.
The 2-2. Piscotty hits a ground ball foul, and Chris Maloney has been busy today. And I mean, normally you say showing off the leather, but that's not the case because he doesn't have a glove. But making all the plays here in spring training.
That last pitch was a great example of how Colon can get in on right-handed batters. But take that pitcher's pitch, foul it off, keep your bat alive. See if they go away on him now.
Runner at second is Ruben Tejada. The 8th pitch of this at bat. Here it comes. We'll see a 9th. It's Tim Tuffle who made that play inside the Mets dugout. Back for another year with New York, their third base coach, and also works as an instructor. You know, it's a tough crowd when you got the Mets in town, because he just tried to throw that off the screen or above the screen, hit off it, and then got booed. Here's a 2-2 pitch. And finally, Colon wins that battle against Piscotty. Picks up the strikeout, his 5th of the afternoon. Martinez has set down 12 in a row. He's back to the mound when we come back. FS1 will have its first national telecast of the season on Thursday, April 7th. Prince Fielder and the Rangers take on Mike Trout and the Angels. All on America's home for baseball all season long. FS1 or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. Bartolo Colon will lead it off against Carlos Martinez. And the first pitch is taken for a ball. Martinez has set down 12 in a row, and it's just looked easy here this afternoon. Very free and easy with his motion. Ground ball that's hit to short. Tejada knows he's got time. Deep in the hole, and the stretch by Adams to make the play. The oohs and ahs of watching Bartolo Colon run.
I won't say anything. New York fans applaud him for making contact. Carries the bat halfway down just to give the fielder a chance, right?
Absolutely. I get a kick out.
I give him more credit for running back to the dugout after that sprint down the first base line.
He's not paid to hit, though, is he?
No.
There's Curtis Granderson. He is struck out and also grounded out. Very good play by Colton Wong to start the ball game back in the first. 0 for 2. Outfield is straight away. Jacob Wilson is the new third baseman for St. Louis. He's playing in, and that's in the gap in left center field. That ball will get down, and it's off the wall. Granderson to second base. He'll stop there. So 13 in a row are set down by Carlos Martinez. And the first hit for the Mets since all the way back in the second inning.
Third hit of the day for the Mets. Second double. They led the National League in doubles last year at 295. And down and away. Elevated it a little bit, and Granderson's day is through.
Pinch runner is in, wearing number 89, Kevin Kazmarski. So the tying run in scoring position. That's hit out of play by Cabrera. He's grounded out to first, also flied out to center. The Mets as a team last year hit only .244. Much of that, in terms of being on the poor side, was done in the first half. And then after they picked up Cespedes and some of the others, much better in the second half in that stretch run. .244, just ahead of the Padres. But they managed the 7th most runs in the National League. They had the fewest stolen bases, so they really relied on the jump that Cespedes gave them, and also had nearly 30 home runs from their first base position. So counting on those two guys again this year as Lyons gets loose.
I remember we saw them fairly early in the season, and
on a hop to first, and there is Adams.
they had very little offense at that time. So it was really surprising that the team really took off once they got Cespedes. And those numbers were just eye-popping what he did after the trade deadline.
Well, lefty on deck. Lyons is getting loose, and you get the feeling that this could be the final batter that Martinez would face today if the inning is extended to Lucas Duda.
I understand your thinking, but I also
only 66 pitches.
66 pitches, and this is his final tune-up, and he's going to start Game 5 of the season.
And that'll be against the Atlanta Braves. So 2 outs, runner at third. Good breaking ball there from Martinez.
Yeah.
Cespedes singled to left and also grounded out. Hard ground ball hit to short. Next time up, he's 1 for 2. The 0-1. Nice play by Fryer to keep it in front. Check swing did go. No balls, 2 strikes. So he's seen a couple of breaking balls. Does Carlos think about slipping maybe a fastball in? You go with the breaking ball, see if he'll chase here.
Well, you got to be a little careful when you start thinking so far ahead, and you don't make that full commitment behind the pitch you're going to make 0-2.
Got him. 3 pitches, strikes out Cespedes. 4 strikeouts today for Carlos Martinez. His final tune-up of spring training, and he looks good. Gets Cespedes with the strikeout. We head to the bottom of the 6th, and it's 2-1 St. Louis. Martinez, his numbers today. This could have been his last pitch. Who knows? But Martinez, very, very good as he carved up Cespedes on 3 pitches.
That's excellent location. 0-2 right there. You know, you're probably not going to make contact.
Jeremy Hazelbaker. After Holiday went 2 for 2 with a home run and a single, 2 runs scored, his day was through, and now Hazelbaker.
Remember, very early in spring, and I talked about Tilson maybe like the first outfielder that would be called up. That probably has changed to Hazelbaker. And I'm not saying he's going to be sent down, but he's still here in camp. Opened up some eyes.
I asked Billy Miller about him, and he said he's a classic case of what probably is a situation in which he's a late bloomer. If you look at his body, sometimes guys that are long and wiry, it takes them a little time. He said, I'm not sure that's necessarily the case here, but in my mind, he looks like a late bloomer and a guy that looks like he belongs in the big leagues at some point.
This is the 8th professional season. He started originally drafted by the Red Sox back in 2009. Got released from the Dodgers.
2-2 hit out of play.
Cardinals picked him up last season. Hit 308 at Springfield. Then promoted to Memphis and hit 333 there.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Jeremy Hazelbaker against Cologne. Slaps it the other way. That ball is going to get down. It's fair and into the corner. Past Conforto, and Hazelbaker, who can really run, takes a wide turn around second base. He'll stop there. Michael Conforto just came into the game to take over in left field. Diaza moved from left to center. And Kazmarski, who is the pinch runner for Granderson, is in right field.
just on this game, remember, a left-handed hitter, that ball's going to keep on slicing away from him into the corner. And here's what you're talking about, the running speed. So he can really turn it on.
Here's Adams, who doubled the gap in left center back in the 4th inning. It's also flied out to center and 1 for 2. Mets now get activity in their pen. A right-hander begins to throw. Adams with a ground ball to the right side. That'll advance Hazelbaker to third. Again, coming up in that first weekend at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Cardinals take on the Reds. And Saturday, April 16th, 30,000 fans ages 16 and older receive an Adam Wainwright bobblehead courtesy of Nathan's Famous and Schnucks, and tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. Used to be 25,000 fans. It's now been raised to 30,000 because of the demand of so many of the great items the Cardinals offer throughout the year. Here's Randal Grichuk. Grichuk came up with runners at 2nd and 3rd back in the 4th and nobody out, and struck out. And also grounded back to Cologne. He's 0 for 2.
Remember that at bat, they just came in.
1 ball, 1 strike.
And the same approach.
These are the kind of innings, though, that the Cardinals have to score in. When you get a leadoff double, productive out by Adams, moving the runner to 3rd, and now 1 out with your cleanup man up.
Yeah, that's it. Not only any point in the lineup, you're going to come up with these scoring opportunities. But when you're at this part of your batting order, your RBI men got to come through.
2 balls and 1 strike.
Now we know Randall's got great power and a very high ceiling, but you really still have to really kind of learn how to be an RBI man.
Again, they try to pound him in, and now he's in the driver's seat with 3 balls, 1 strike. Eric Fryer is on deck. Grichuk rips it into left. That's in the corner. On his way to second. He comes through, and it's a 3-1 St. Louis lead. The ball just jumps off his bat, and Randal Grichuk picks up RBI number 6 of the spring.
Oh, he had the great opportunity as he came into a very desirable hitting count, 3-1. And then all of a sudden you don't get the ball quite far enough in, trying to go in, and you see it's left up and over the middle of the plate there a little bit, and he hammered it.
A 3-1 St. Louis lead. Here's Eric Fryer. Strike 1 on Fryer. Rounded out back in the 4th. That brought in Holiday. Give the Cardinals a 2-1 lead. He's also flied out to right. And a fly ball lifted into left center field. Diaza makes the catch. Grichuk to the bag at second base. That's out number 2 here in the bottom of the 6th. Colt Wong is 1 for 2 today. Base hit to center field and also struck out back in the 4th. Dan Warthen is the pitching coach of the Mets. They're keeping a close eye here on Cologne, trying to squeeze him through 6. Tyler Lyons continues to throw in the Cardinals' pen, so it looks like the day for Martinez is through. Strike 1 on Colt Wong.
left-handed pitcher, pitching coach, and a good one for the Mets. Paid his dues too.
The 0-1-2 Wong. Taken for a ball low. Sandy Alderson inherited a payroll of around $150 million. That was 5 years ago. And then last year they actually went to the World Series with a payroll that was smaller than the Kansas City Royals. Think about that. A New York team with smaller payroll than the Royals. And the Royals should be very good again this year. Mets will be good.
That's where those two teams, the World Series teams, match up on opening day, right?
Opening night, Sunday night.
In Kansas City?
I believe so. The 2-1. 2-2.
It is. 2-game series.
It'll be a celebration across the state in Kansas City, I'm sure, on Sunday night.
How about the Kansas City Royals? Their parade, I think they estimated at 800,000.
In my mind, it's always been a great baseball town. It just fell on tough times. Those are some bad teams for a long time, and then trying to get out of that rut. They did, and now they've got a great nucleus of players.
You know, the real question is going to be is that Kansas City Royals, when you move forward a year or two, can they hold that team together with everybody becoming free agents? Gordon's came back, but you can't probably re-sign all of them.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2-run lead for the Cardinals. Grichuk, your runner at second base.
Water, beer, peanut.
Long little tapper towards first. Duda to Cologne, and they get the out. Cardinals, though, add to their lead. The 6th RBI this spring for Randall Grichuk with a double down the left field line. Drives in Jeremy Hazelbaker. We head to the 7th. Cardinals on top. It's 3-1. Stadium in Jupiter, Florida. And it's 3-1 St. Louis leading New York. Carlos Martinez out of the game, but not done with his work as he continues to throw in the bullpen. Get some extra work in and get ready for that first start against Atlanta.
Well, that makes sense to me now, you know, because 6 super efficient innings. Stretch it out.
One point, he set down 13 in a row.
We'll come down there and get a little more work in, get that number up over 80.
And here's Tyler Lyons, who is out of options, and it looks like he's found a home in the Cardinals bullpen.
To me, I had him penciled in that bullpen all season long because of the be out of options, and I think he also has earned it.
Good breaking ball.
Has a very good breaking ball. He can get righties and lefties out, can spot start, but he's really one of the only few relievers down there that could go multiple innings.
1-2 pitch. Breaking ball again, and it's tapped foul. And this is more of the scenario that he'll face in a major league game. You know, coming in and facing a guy like a Lucas Duda.
And I think you can bring him in any situation. You know, that long man, and preferably you got a left-handed batter up there, but you know he's going to go more than, you know, like we say, is a left-handed specialist who only faces one lefty.
1-2 and the breaking ball again, and he got him. Strikeout of Duda. That's how we start the 7th.
Tyler has some very good breaking ball. See some really funny swings against that pitch.
Cardinals get to 100 wins thanks to Tyler Lyons in the 7 innings that he had in Game 2 of the doubleheader against Pittsburgh in the final week. And a game that the Cardinals wrapped up the division. He was magnificent that night.
And I think that really kind of hopefully turned the corner where, you know, going up and down the last 3 years, you should finally say, okay, I belong here. And you start acting like a major leaguer. You know, not saying cocky or anything, but you just come out there and you say, you know, I am good enough to be on this team. And then you start believing in yourself.
Neil Walker, switch hitter, the 2-0 pitch. Taken low. Walker, a double inside the first base line, hitting from the other side. Left-handed back in the 2nd. And he struck out in the 4th. 3-0 the count. One pitch. 3-2. Juan Lagares is at the on-deck circle. 3-2 pitch. And Walker just got a piece. Walker has hit at least 16 home runs the past 3 years. Last year was 16, drove in 71. The Mets have a young prospect by the name of Dilson Herrera. One of their top prospects is coming. He's a middle infielder. And so Walker is a free agent after this year, and it could be just 1 year in New York. After 3-0 start, comes back to get him and strikes him out. So 2 strikeouts for Tyler Lyons. It was 4 this afternoon for Carlos Martinez, who again at one point set down 13 in a row. He's our BJC Healthcare difference maker and was outstanding today, Al.
Well, what I really liked is he really went out there and looked like he tried to be efficient. He got a lot of ground balls. He was trying to retire hitters with as few pitches as possible, and went 6 innings in less than, what was about 70 pitches, something of that nature, and very efficient. And then finished up another inning or so in the bullpen.
1 ball and 1 strike on Juan Lagares, who's known for his glove, not his bat. Great defensive player, but now with Conforto arriving on the scene, Cespedes is back. Curtis Granderson, his playing time will be cut. That'll help, though. Base hit into center field. So a 2-out base hit, and it brings in Travis d'Arnaud.
See the second baseman playing up the middle, the shortstop playing way in the hole. Got a ground ball and just beat the defense.
d'Arnaud is fly to left and also grounded out to third. Short lead at first and a 1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. Two balls and a strike. The departures for the Mets: Michael Kadire retired, Jonathan Neese traded to Pittsburgh, Tyler Clippard, Daniel Murphy free agent with the Nationals. But their pitching does return, and it's some of the best, if not the best, in all of baseball. The 2-1 pitch. And a fly ball lifted into right. And Tyler Lyons has a scoreless top of the 7th. Time to stretch. You're watching Spring Training Baseball 2016 on Fox Sports Midwest. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by your local Hyundai dealers. Visit buyhyundai.com. Very warm, muggy afternoon here at Roger Dean Stadium in Jupiter, Florida. Eric Godell is the new pitcher for the New York Mets. He'll get the bottom of the 7th. It'll be Ruben Tejada. Then Brandon Moss will be your pinch hitter. Then the top of the lineup for the Cardinals and Jacob Wilson. Cardinals lead by the score of 3-1. They picked up a first inning run on a home run by Matt Holliday. Then an RBI ground out by Eric Fryer. That was in the 4th. RBI double by Randall Grichuk to bring in Hazelbaker. That was in the 6th. And St. Louis has a lead of 3-1. They about hit the Mets 7-4. Tejada is 1 for 2, lined out to second, also single to center. We're underway here in the bottom of the 7th. That's good news for the Cardinals. Jordan Walden begins to throw in their pen. He's been dealing with a knot in his back and soreness after we didn't see him pitch all that much last year. He was shut down with injury, and as John Mozeliak was telling us the other day, the Cardinals want to see him throw in back-to-back games before they head north to see if they can have him available for the rigors of a regular season coming out of the pen, as Tejada takes a good cut and fouls it back.
And of course Jordan Walden, who was a real question mark coming in after missing the last 5 months last year. Everything appeared to be on target. Mike Matheny saying, I like the way he was throwing. So he kind of, his status really changes the complexion of that bullpen.
2-1 is hit out of play.
And we still have Bowman, Rule 5 pick from the Mets. He's still on the bubble.
And John was telling us the other day it could come down literally to the final hour when they submit their roster to figure out if Bowman or Walden is on the team at the onset of the regular season. The 2-2 pitch to Ruben Tejada. Big gap in left center. Takes it into right center. You think the Mets know him? Positioned perfectly. Lagares, the Gold Glover out in center, puts it away. Very smooth.
Bench coach for Mike Matheny, David Bell there with the glasses. Regeneration baseball family.
This could be a role that you see with Brandon Moss and Matt Adams throughout the year. Late inning, pinch hit role. Whoever hits is going to play first base if Holiday is not there. Moss, though, has the flexibility to move to left field or right field, too. The 0-1.
And Dan, that would be something the Cardinals haven't had for several years, is to have somebody that could come off that bench, put a little fear in the opposing manager. A guy that can hit home runs.
Jed Jerko would do that from the other side of the plate. I mean, the bench is much improved.
When you really look at it, the Cardinals last several years have really been many times have played with a 22, 23 man bench.
Cosmo was not going to pinch hit. Randy Choate would be more of a situational lefty. You wouldn't use him to get 3 outs normally, so that was only his role. He wasn't going to give you multiple innings.
Tony Cruz, they just felt Yachty was so valuable that had to have him back there. Many times Mike Matheny say, I want to use Tony Cruz as a pinch hitter, but didn't do so, because he didn't want to face the fact that he could end up having a catcher get hurt and replace Yachty, and then Cruz go out and get hurt, and what are you stuck with? Borges at the end kind of he was just a pinch runner.
And Moss is swinging and a miss as he strikes out. So 2 outs in the inning. Back to the top of the lineup, and Jacob Wilson. Our first look at Jacob at the plate as he came in for Matt Carpenter down at third. It's another spring training where the Cardinals have taken a long look at Jacob Wilson. 1 home run, 4 RBIs. He's hit .207. First pitch is popped up. On the infield, the shortstop wants it. He's got it, puts it away. The Cardinals go 1-2-3. We head to the 8th. And St. Louis with a lead of 3-1 on Fox Sports Midwest. to sponsor the St. Louis Cardinals Hall of Fame and the annual induction process that gives fans a voice in honoring the team's greatest players. You can find the 8-man ballot on Cardinals.com/HOF. Make your selection for the 2 most deserving legends that will go into the Cardinals Hall of Fame. Vote now, Cardinals.com/HOF. So this becomes a very important outing. And then tomorrow when we get to the ballpark to see how Jordan Walden feels, that'll also be very important, to see if he can pitch on back-to-back days. When he's thrown here in spring training, he has been one of the best relievers the Cardinals have had. He's been dominant at times.
Yeah, Mike Matheny really likes what he's seen again from him this spring.
0-1 pitch. 0-2 on Wilmer Flores.
This the last 5 months he was really used extensively in early April in the games and was very effective.
0-2 pitch. I don't remember seeing his slider being nearly as good or as sharp as we've seen here this spring. That stood out. The velocity is back.
He made 12 relief appearances last year, recording a save and 8 holds. And those were all in April. Then he went down to the injury, a rotator cuff injury. He's had some similar problems in the past, but they just feel that there's a way of stretching him every day that he can alleviate that. Got a little knot in the back of his shoulder, but the one thing about him is he's a little different. He's got that little unorthodox delivery. He can power the fastball. He's got closing experience.
3-2 pitch. And a base hit out to left. Hazelbaker over to gather it. And Wilmer Flores is aboard with a leadoff hit to start the 8th. Brings in Johnny Monell. What's on tap is presented by Budweiser. Steven Strasburg and Adam Wainwright tomorrow. In Adam's final start before the opening day assignment next Sunday. Cardinals and Nationals tomorrow at noon on Fox Sports Midwest. It's our Budweiser What's on Tap. Johnny Monell at the plate. Could be 2. A flip to second. No. Couldn't come up with it. So the first 2 have reached.
Tried to flip that ball to Wong covering a second. If they would have got that one there, they'd probably have to complete the double play.
So it's an error on Ruben Tejada, trying to make the spectacular play instead of just getting the sure out, which he would have had a chance to do. Kevin Kazmarski took over in right field for Curtis Granderson and looks at a ball high. Runners at first and second, the 1-0 pitch. You see that a lot with Jordan Walden too. Hitters just don't pick him up all that well. You get the late swings or the check swings.
So everything's timing. You know, you're trying to time that delivery, and then with that hesitation and losing contact with his foot on the rubber, it just, you know, you got a stutter step in there.
You know, by the way, he's throwing mid to high 90s too. That doesn't help.
That's it. This is his 6th appearance of spring, and only see the pitch up there and throws it right by him, but he did not allow a hit in his first 5 appearances. He has not been scored upon yet this spring.
1-2 pitch. But again, the big test is tomorrow. You know, he gets out of this inning unscathed, healthy. How does he feel tomorrow when he comes to the ballpark, and can he pitch in back-to-back games? And that may decide the fate of Matt Bowman, and it could decide Walden's immediate fate with the club.
Sure. And the one good sign is he did the other day ask for yesterday and today off. But then yesterday it felt a little bit better, and so here we are back here pitching today.
The 1-2. There it is, a nasty slider. Good pitch down and in, and gets the strikeout.
Remember, a lot of this exploding fastballs up, and there you see the breaking ball. Almost looks like it goes straight down, but you see a fastball's up around the eyes, and then you see that one down at your ankles. Hard to stop your swing.
Matt Reynolds made the trip today, has made every spring road trip the last 2 years with the exception of one. And here he is at the plate. Walden would love the double play. Takes a pitch inside. He's 5 for his last 8 over his last 3 spring training games, and overall hitting .265, 2 doubles, 4 RBIs in 15 games. Runners at first and second with 1 out and a 1-0 pitch. Conforto is on deck.
Other than the fact that Reynolds have to travel quite a bit, you know, it's one of those situations where if you're here every game, you get a chance to display your talents and win a job.
And he's had big league experience. We've seen him before. Game was started by Carlos Martinez. It was very good. Scoreless inning by Tyler Lyons. Now Jordan Walden. There's the breaking pitch again. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Tell you that slider, it's as good as we've seen from Jordan Walden.
Well, that's it. Mike Matheny, you know, says, I love the way he's pitching. It's just a question is he going to be reliable enough for him to start the season on the roster? Signed the 2-year contract last year when he came over in the Hayward deal. Going into spring training, I think he was really a question mark, but he's proven that if he's healthy, he can pitch and help this club.
Here's Conforto, pops it up left side. Hazelbaker giving chase. Can't come up with it. Walden should be out of the inning. You think about the potential of the double play in the air that was made by Ruben Tejada, and then this drop baseball near the mound that's in play at this ballpark. And that's not what the Cardinals want to see either. They'd love to have a quick inning here for Jordan Walden.
You know, there's a lot of ballparks that today that don't have those mounds in play. But look at the, you know, the cooler or whatever they got there at the back of the mound. I don't know if he saw that in his peripheral vision or not, but mounds can be dangerous.
Conforto is one of the top young players, position players that the Mets have. We talk so much about their pitching, but he burst on the scene, really gave them a spark offensively. Could see him every day in the outfield for the Mets.
Made some history last year. Became the third player in baseball history playing the Little League World Series, the College World Series, and the World Series.
1 ball and 2 strikes.
Represented Northwest region in the 2004 Little League World Series. Helped Oregon State to the College World Series in 2013, and he was the left fielder during the World Series a year ago.
2 on and a 1-2 pitch. And he hit him. You know, at this point, if you're Mike Matheny, you got to think about getting somebody up. And I wonder if that's what they're going to do right now. 20 pitches for Walden, who should be out of the inning. If you want to see him pitch in back-to-back games, you ideally wouldn't want to have 25 to 30 pitches and then come back tomorrow.
Juan Gonzalez gets up to throw some non-roster players still here in camp. Yeah, I get your point, and Never used to think in terms of, you know, throw him 20, 25, 30 pitches, he can't come back tomorrow. But that's the reality of today, especially with a guy that has some, you know, question marks health-wise.
Strike two, Eric Campbell with the bases loaded for the Mets. A base hit could tie this game. The 0-1. Doesn't get the call. 1 ball, 1 strike. I would think one way or another this is his final hitter.
Well, he's getting a test today.
Two balls and a strike. Next to Eric Campbell. High chopper towards short. Tejada charges and got him. So Walden pitches out of the jam here in the top of the 8th, and he keeps it a 3-1 St. Louis lead. Spring Training 2016 on Fox Sports Midwest. Is brought to you by Bomarito, where price sells cars. By Shelter Insurance for your auto, home, and life. Visit your local agent or find us on the web at shelterinsurance.com. We're your shield, we're your shelter. And by Bud Light, raise 1-2 right now. Al Roboski, the Mad Hungarian, Dan McLaughlin with you. Mike Kelly has been our producer and director today. Statistician is Olivia, Luke, Barrett, and Avery. They've helped us up here in the booth. We've had a camera on that young lady, and she has not stopped eating since the first pitch of this game.
This is the 11th appearance of the spring for Antonio Bastardo. Good left-hander. Mets picked up. 11 appearances. First 10, he's got 9 1/3 innings.
First man we'll see is Stephen Piscotty. 0 for 3 today. Looks at a pitch high. Kevin Segras begins to throw in the Cardinals pen. No stranger to trying to get the final 3 outs of a ball game. That role reserved for Trevor Rosenthal, of course. Scotty grounded out to second, grounded out to third, and then struck out swinging And a 9-pitch at bat against Bartolo Colon, and singles to start the bottom of the 8th for the Cardinals.
0 for 3, so take a ball up the middle.
Brings in Jeremy Hazelbaker, and this spot in the lineup has done the damage for the Cardinals. It was Holiday with a home run and a single, 2 runs scored. Hazelbaker, a double down the left field line in the 6th, and scored on the double by Randall Grichuk.
Lacking just the triple for the hit for the cycle of this spot in the order. Hazelbaker's got the speed to do it.
Showing bunt, drops it down and pushed it foul. Matt Adams is on deck.
Maybe a good test for Hazelbaker. Stardo, he signed with the Mets as a free agent. Had some good years with Philadelphia. Left you down there in the pen.
One pitch. Now 0-2. Also had Sean Gilmartin, pitched at Florida State, who worked out of the pen, was a Rule 5 pickup 2 years ago for the Mets. And an 0-2 pitch to Jeremy Hazelbaker. Instead, a check on the runner at first base, Stephen Piscotty. Here's an 0-2. Long look and now a throw over. Ooh, and almost threw it away. Cardinals with a game against Washington tomorrow. Wrap up play here at Roger Dean Stadium on Wednesday. We'll have both games for you. Thursday, the Cardinals take on the Yankees in Tampa. And then they head to Pittsburgh. Couple of workouts and then start the season on Sunday. 0-2 pitch. Fly ball down the left field line, playable in foul territory. The catch is made. Piscotty back to the bag. Yadier Molina, his jersey is coming up that first weekend against Cincinnati. Busch Stadium 3 giveaway, and also the Adam Wainwright bobblehead Yadier Molina jersey with the 10-year anniversary patch of Busch Stadium 3. On the sleeve. 30,000 fans 16 and older will take that home. Molina late scratch today from the lineup, dealing with a bruise on the foot, listed as day to day. One out, runner at first, and here is Adams. And this is a good matchup for Matt. If he's going to be an everyday player, whether it's now or in the future in his career, can he hit left-handed pitching? He's hit just 197 in his career against lefties. Working on not lunging, he's staying back, and we saw that earlier today with his double into left center.
To me, that double really did say something, about what you're talking about. He has tried to bunt a couple times if they have the shift on him.
One-0 pitch, and Adams stays back and skies one into center. Catch is made. Piscotty back to the bag at first. Matt also telling me he's not rocking back and forth, and you may remember he had a little bit of a rock back and forth to get himself set, but even there stayed back just a slight tick off, but better than what we've seen.
Most definitely. Just try to have less movement, Keep those hands back. Keep the head still. Get the ball in the inside part. You can turn on that one if it's going to be in the middle or away. Try and take it the opposite way.
So here's Randal Grichuk, who doubled, picked up an RBI, number 6 this spring. It was back in the 6th inning. Awfully concerned with Stephen Piscotty here in the bottom of the 8th.
If you don't have a good move, don't show it.
So what are you saying?
Doesn't have a good move.
Piscotty is leaning towards second. Short lead though at first. There he goes. Got a good jump. Throw down to second. Not in time. Came off the bag, but still got his hand in there. And the Cardinals are edging closer to 30 steals this spring. They have run an awful lot in spring training.
Well, by the same token, though, you see Bastardo just going all those moves to first base. He showed Piscotty, you know, with the flaw that he has. He lifted that leg straight up, gives him a chance to get that big jump, and that's what made him safe.
Extra base hit last time up for Randal Grichuk. He had 47 extra base hits last year in 103 games. The 1-0.
They've been working inside on Grichuk all day. That'll be fine. There'll be enough guys that'll leave the ball out over the plate, not quite getting in there.
Here's a 2-0 pitch. In the dirt, 3-0. Bastardo with first base open may want to deal with Eric Fryer instead of Randal Grichuk. A 3-0 pitch to Grichuk. Does he have the green light here? He does, and he pops it up. Left side, foul territory, and a new life. 3-1 the count.
Flag indicates not a lot of wind here today, but there's been a couple of these pop-ups that really has eluded the fielder.
Two outs, runner at second, 3 balls, 1 strike on Randal Grichuk. Foul back, 3-2. I guess Bastardo didn't get the memo on the speed up rules of the game.
Yeah.
Longtime PR man of the New York Mets, Jay Horowitz. There he is. So he's not in the press box. He's just hanging out in the bullpen. I don't know if I've ever seen a PR guy in a bullpen.
He has his assistants here.
3-2 pitch to Randal Grichuk. Pulled foul. I mean, that is unique to have a PR director in your bullpen. Not in uniform. 3-2 pitch. Tapped foul again. To Grichuk, and he walked up. So it's another opportunity for Eric Fryer, and Terry Collins will go to his bullpen. He's had a right-hander getting loose in the pen, and thankfully that'll be it for Bastardo. So we'll step aside. It's a pitching change coming up for the New York Mets. Player of the game is Matt Holliday. 2 for 2, a home run, a single, RBI, couple of runs scored, and he is our Budweiser player of the game.
Robles comes in here, his 10th appearance. He was recalled last year, April 21st, to the big leagues. 57 ball games, all in relief. 4-3 record, 3.67. He'll get Eric Fryer.
Fryer getting the start today, and with 2 outs, 2 on, he looks at a ball. Picked up an RBI back in the 4th. He's also flied to right field and center. The story today, though, is Carlos Martinez in many ways. He'll pitch here Saturday and then take a plane to Pittsburgh and join his teammates on Sunday. 1 ball, 1 strike, so he'll pitch the backfields against the minor leaguers. Make sure they stay on schedule, keep their timing, and we'll see Martinez pitch against the Atlanta Braves. Segrist has been ready and loose for quite some time as Fryer hits that out of play. Been a tough spring at the plate for Fryer, hitting just 130, no home runs. Picked up the first RBI of spring earlier today. One ball, 2 strikes, with 2 runners on for the Cardinals here in the bottom of the 8th. Colton Wong is on deck.
Fryer's 30 years of age. He'll turn 31 during the season. Said stints at the big league level with Pittsburgh and Minnesota. The 2-2. Fly ball into center,
Juan Lagares is there. The Cardinals strand 2. They lead 3-1. We head to the 9th with St. Louis trying to pick up a victory. We'll try to get the final 3 outs. Top of the 9th rolls in. It's 3-1 St. Louis. Cardinals have out-hit the Mets 8-6. Jeff McNeil will lead it off for New York, and there are the spring training numbers for Kevin Segrist. We've seen a very good breaking ball, always the good fastball, change up from Segrist, and he gets the top of the 9th. First pitch, a strike from the tall lefty.
Kevin's just established himself as one of the best left-handers in the game. Set up men.
The 0-1 pitch, hit out of play, 0-2. I guess the storylines from today, Al, from the Cardinals' perspective, would be Carlos Martinez looked terrific. And then let's see what happens with Jordan Walden when we come to the ballpark tomorrow, or even now, how he feels with an extended inning.
I think that is the best part, and let's hope nobody comes up lame.
0-2 pitch, and a ground ball hit to the right side. Wong ranging to his left and makes the play.
No major concerns with Yachty.
This would be the other thing I think that you just want to know a little bit more about. Yachty was a late scratch, but what we're told, nothing serious, just maybe a little bruise on the foot. Trying to be careful before the season opener. Yachty has caught more than I thought he would this spring.
Well, yeah, because once he kind of said he was okay, he's been catching an awfully lot. So it's Pena had the job yesterday.
Here's Lagares. First pitch popped up. Fryer gives it a look. We'll find the seats. Another big crowd here at Roger Dean Stadium. We've had great crowds all spring. Packed houses. At one point against the Red Sox about a week ago, we set the all-time record for attendance at this ballpark, just over 7,000.
Good to see.
Baseball is alive and well. 0-1 pitch. 0-2.
You know, Dan, one of the things a little different is, you know, during spring guys are working on different things, and you know, then you have television and you have every game getting so much attention. Sometimes it's really not fair to players trying to work on something.
Right. There's that curveball and it's pulled foul. Well, everything is dissected. You know, the scouts do that, but then when you're on TV, for instance, Colton Wong saying, look, I'm trying to take more pitches than I normally would. And, you know, the numbers weren't there great early in spring, and now we're starting to see him swing the bat. And it's those kind of things you think about.
Sure. And
0-2 pitch.
And if Kevin can come up with a more effective breaking ball, that's really going to add another weapon. Got the good changeup, good fastball.
Breaking ball and a strikeout. And the Mets down to their final out. Kevin Plawecki. Backup catcher saw considerable time last year with the injuries that the Mets suffered, in particular with Travis d'Arnaud. So with 2 outs here in the top of the ninth, nobody on. The Cardinals lead by the score of 3-1, and Seager's trying to finish it off. The Cardinals win, they would improve to 9-13-3 this spring. The Mets then would drop to 7-14-5. As Al mentioned, both teams looking for wins in the final week. Hit out of play. No balls, 2 strikes. And the Mets down to their final strike. Here's the 0-2. He got him, and the Cardinals win it by the final of 3-1. Solid final 3 outs by Kevin Seagrist.
And of course, right now, players are starting to get a little bit more energy as they can look forward to the final week here in Florida and know that after the game on Thursday, they're going to be winging their way to Pittsburgh and ready for the season. So keep your fingers crossed, no more injuries.
The final out recorded by Kevin Seagrist. The Cardinals hold on 3-1 over the Mets. And a happy manager for St. Louis. Back to wrap it up in a moment.